Another people to look at this time are the Phoenicians. Looking at the Hebrews and now looking at the Phoenicians. They're quite interesting. They're an empire at this time also. So looking at the Phoenician Empire, these are coastal cities. Many of them still exist today. This will be the coastal area north of present-day Israel and Lebanon. These are the coastal cities of Tyre, Sidon, Byblos, a whole string of cities along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea. They are traders. The Phoenicians are famous traders in the ancient world. They trade throughout the Mediterranean, not just to Greece and Egypt, but all the way over to Italy, all the way over to Spain. Just unbelievable trade, great sailors, and very good at trade throughout the Mediterranean. Here's a picture of one of their cities, still in existence today. Their cities are still populated, these ancient Phoenician cities. Here's one of their coins. They're famous trading people, making money. Middle class, a whole empire based on the middle class. They will set up colonies. As they trade throughout the Mediterranean, they will set up their little trading centers, which will become colonies as people come there. One of them is called Carthage. This will be a very famous city. We'll get to more about it later when we get to the Romans. The city of Carthage, created in North Africa, will be Rome's nemesis when we get to Rome later on. So I just want to mention that it's a Phoenician city. All the way to Spain. That's a long way. That's all the way across the Mediterranean. From one side of the Mediterranean to the other, the Phoenicians dominate the seas and trade. Some archaeologists believe they made it to England. There's no real proof of that, just kind of guesswork and a few pieces of archaeological evidence, maybe. But that would have been impressive if they made it all the way past Spain, all the way to England. The Phoenicians are most famous for giving us the alphabet. Quite a gift they gave us. What is it about the alphabet? It's phonetic. The idea that you've got a series of marks, and each of the marks represents a sound. And so they are Indo-European, and so you can pretty much use this for any sort of sound that you can make. And they come across in the Mediterranean, all these different languages. When you hear them, you can make a mark for each noise that you hear. 22 different symbols for different sounds, depending on if you're trading with the people in Spain, North Africa, Greece, Egypt. Any word you hear, you can make a mark for that letter, for that sound, which is great for international trade. Dealing with all different kinds of languages, you can kind of convert the sounds into symbols so that you can keep track of what objects you have, what all different people call them. And they'll also be using paper. This will be a huge bonus, that they can write their symbols easily onto paper. I mean, the Egyptians have invented paper from the papyrus plant, but it's the Phoenicians who say this is the way to do it. It doesn't require mud tablets. It doesn't require pieces of wood. You just have these wood fibers, these papyrus fibers smashed flat. They're very lightweight. You can carry lots of them and not take up any weight at all. And this writing system will be throughout the Mediterranean. Now this is the big breakthrough. This will be the internet of its age, the breakthrough. Information can travel quickly and easily now. It'll be picked up by the Hebrews even. The Hebrews, when they start writing their stuff down, will be using symbols that they've picked up from the Phoenicians. Even the Greeks will do the same. They will see these Phoenician letters and say, hey, that's a good system you got there. And then the Greeks will go further. It's the Greeks who will introduce the idea of vowels to clarify the sounds. Need some extra marks besides just the 22 letters. So here's a little tracking of it. You can see the Phoenician letters here. The Greeks will pick them up and change them a little. Then the Romans will pick them up and start using them for their Latin, and then we have these today. So if you're writing things down, you're using Phoenician, the alphabet, alpha, beta, on down the line. I'd like to talk about the Assyrians now. We've mentioned them before, the evil Assyrians who've destroyed the 10 tribes. If you look at the dates here, it doesn't last that long. It's a very short-lived empire. They started off nicely enough as just herders, just a pastoral people in the upper Tigris. So this is in the northern part of Mesopotamia, and they are a Semitic people living up, off in civilization, but not the main part of civilization. And then two changes take place with the Assyrians. They got hit from the north by these Iron Age people. The Iron Age people migrated in from the north into Mesopotamia, and these Assyrians picked up the iron weapons. What I mean by that is they would have learned about iron. Somehow they were able to get the secret and actually improve it. They will have an improved system of iron making, and they'll use it for not only weapons but armor and for other objects. And then they have great warrior kings. It'll be a series of king, who are just fantastic warriors, and they will take these pastoral people and start invading, and they're unstoppable once they do this. Their army is something to behold. The history books, when you speak of ancient warfare, this is the creme de la creme of ancient militaries, the Assyrians. They are the symbol of efficiency. When they set out to wage war, they do it very efficiently, which means they do it well, and they do it quickly, and they have a purpose to it. Logistics. They excel in logistics. This is the idea of moving an army from point A to point B. You need food, you need maps, you need intelligence, you need reconnaissance, and they do all this really well. They have a chariot army. They're an infantry. They have chariots. They have all kinds of different branches, but the chariots would be the most memorable. These chariot armies come rolling through, and their chariots would be more memorable. That they've got iron wrappings around their wheels, an iron axle, different iron pieces. Chariots can break, but theirs are going to be more powerful with iron. And then engineers. They will have men who specialize in the things that an army needs outside of just weaponry. I'm talking about bridges, road building, knocking down walls of a town. When you run into a town that has walls, you can't just leave it alone. These Assyrians, we'll have pictures of them knocking down walls of cities because they have specialized engineers. And then their best weapon, the thing they're most noted for, is their terror. They will wage a terror campaign. In other words, they will make it known to you that they're coming and how terrible they are. In fact, they will rejoice in that everyone fears them. And when you fear someone, you don't fight as well, or you may just surrender without a fight. And so this helps them as they move. And they will become an empire coming from the northern part of Mesopotamia. They'll come south into Mesopotamia, taking all of Mesopotamia, all the Fertile Crescent, all the way into Egypt. They are the first empire that unites all of this. Mesopotamia, the Fertile Crescent, and Egypt all united as an empire, but fortunately not for a very long time. Their atrocities are well known, and then they don't last long. Here's a picture of some of their atrocities. In their palaces, they will have many pictures like this of just butchering people, flaying them alive, torturing them, just unbelievable pictures. And this would have been in their palaces. So if you were a foreign diplomat coming in, you would see these pictures and think they're not kidding. You know, you've heard stories about these Assyrians, and they're not kidding. But their art is very beautiful, though. It is really beautiful if it wasn't so nasty. Beautiful pictures of horses. They seem to dress really nicely. Here's their kings with jewelry and crowns. If it wasn't for the atrocities, you would think they would be just kind of nice people. They also have harnessed the horse. They've grown it big enough now to ride, probably using horseshoes. With their iron, you wrap their feet in this iron, and the horse can actually hold you without splitting its feet. And then lots of lion pictures. If you run into the Assyrians, you'll see lots and lots of lion pictures. They love to hunt lions. This would also be propaganda in the good way, that they are good people, that they hunt lions. Lions roam the night, and so these Assyrians, control the streets, and it's safe to walk around at night because there are no more lions. Lots of lion pictures. And this one here, obviously purely propaganda. One of their kings fighting a lion hand-to-hand combat. Here's some of their gods with wings. Their capital city is Nineveh, and this was a great archaeological find, the city of Nineveh. It seems pretty much intact there. Pretty much got left out of everything. Once the Assyrians disappear, the city will become covered. And when we find it and they're able to unbury it, it's pretty much intact. That's where all those pictures come from, those in other places, but just Nineveh was found intact. They had a library there. We were able to find caves where as they conquered people, they would bring the knowledge together. They would collect all the information of the people they conquered. And so we found a lot of interesting cuneiform tablets, ancient cuneiform tablets in Nineveh. And here's the entryway. As you entered Nineveh, you'd have these winged ox man creatures. There's a picture of one of their kings in a chariot. and above him would be descriptions of what all he did, including all of his mass murder and tortures that he had done. So they reveled in it. They reveled in their nasty atrocities and their sense of greatness. I call them the ancient Nazis. If you want to compare them to someone in the modern times, look at the Nazis. A very orderly people, efficient military, with just kind of a nasty edge. You know, even though they appreciated art somewhat, just that nastiness to them. And they don't live long. They're not around long. The Assyrians aren't around long, and neither are the Nazis. So I would equate them with the ancient Nazis.